Okay. Hope this is recording. Okay. Yes, this is okay. So I was waiting for actually, I thought I would hear a chime that it has started recording, but maybe not. Anyway, so we kind of started recording here, folks. So good evening, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, depending on where you are. I know we have someone from Japan who would be, probably it's just the morning for them. For the rest of the folks in US, good evening, and yep, we are pretty close to our night, and hopefully we not probably see someone who's in Germany because it's kind of close to midnight. So all right, so moving along, just a quick meeting etiquettes here, folks. So I'm just waiting for my screen to start working with me. Just give me a second here. Okay, oops. All right, so please, do not start or use your video unless necessary. So Markel, if you could please shut your video down. As I said, just as we all know, we kind of are currently going through some challenging times in terms of network usage, and just being cognizant of that. We don't want to get into any bandwidth issues. Please mute your microphone when you're not talking. You may want to limit any distractions around you. And for any questions, comments, please wait until I open up for Q&A. Or even if in this case, I mean, this is going to be a very informal session, our first one. So if there are questions, feel free to, jump in and ask the question. Okay, we'll be okay for this particular session. You may also send your questions and comments in the chat room. So myself or Yelena will pick that up as and when we see it or towards the end. And this live sessions, will be typically an hour or less, with the maximum time being in an hour and a half. Today's session is going to be pretty light. It's more for, just getting to know each other, getting engaged here in the classroom, getting to, know you well, and especially that, and I want to share the course information with you. Okay, so I hope not to go beyond, 30 to 45 minutes max here, unless we get into a lot of Q&A. And yes, of course, for the future sessions, and please mark your calendar whenever you get a Zoom invite by email. Very important, okay? So when we'd be starting, and the time will be mostly, published in the Eastern time zone, okay? So, okay, with that, let's move on to our, the first slide here. So you have myself here, Linesh Dave, who's going to be the instructor for your course. I've, provided my detailed introduction in the classroom via YouTube video. I hope you all watched it. So in the interest of time, I'm not going to repeat myself. And along with me, we have our Yelena Bytenskaya. Yelena, that always beats me. That's always a challenging. But anyway, I'll get to it one day without any issues. But so Yelena is going to be the TA for this class. She will be responding to your tickets created in the UMGC Salesforce system. So Yelena, do you want to quickly introduce yourself?
Sure. And I've been a TA at UMGC for at least 13 years. I started in a graduate program in the database systems, and then I transferred to the data analytics graduate program. And of course, now I'll be supporting both graduate and undergraduate for many, many years. All right, so I look forward to work with you guys.
Okay, yes. So folks, as you heard from Yelena, she's been around for a long, long time. I've known Yelena since the time I, started with my master's course in data analytics in UMGC, the very first batch of students. And that's where I met Yelena. And, that's been like almost more than 8 years now, Yelena. So yeah, we go back that long, and Yelena has been a wonderful, wonderful TA for different programs within UMGC. You guys are really lucky to have her as your TA. She's very thorough and she
Thank
would
you.
be always be willing to help you. But remember, she's not there to, complete your assignments. She's not there to fix your computer issues. She's there to help you with your with virtual labs, any issues, any technical issues with virtual labs, or that kind of those kind of issues. Okay, so please, may not want to use her for your assignments, completing your assignments, or fixing your laptops or computer systems. Okay. All right. So with that, we'll move on to the next slide on the course introduction. So this course, as many of you have already, noted, and I saw you, being already, engaged with the classroom. You have noticed that our course consists of 4 modules, and this will provide a comprehensive hands-on approach to basic data analytics. And so each of these modules will have a discussion and quiz. In module 1, you learn about how to frame a problem and install and use Power BI service and desktop. So I'm sure many of you have already gone through that. I saw some of you already submitted the quiz on installation of the Power BI service and desktop. So good job there. Folks who haven't got to it yet, you may want to get through this as soon as possible. This is one of the most important steps and the most required step in this course. So please get to it as soon as possible. Module 2, you'll learn to outline data and explore your data, prepare your data. You'll understand a data set and how you will fix it for analytics, meaning transforming the data for analytics. That's what you will learn in module 2. In module 3, you learn how to build meaningful visualizations from data sets. And this could be, from the data set that you would have, worked with in module 2. And of course, you could also take on some additional data sets. I hope by module 3, you would be at a point where you could take on multiple data sets and play with it and see how you can draw or create multiple visualizations and explore it and and prepare and transform it as well. Module 4, you understand one of the simplest data models, linear regression. Although I've used simplest, please do not underestimate this model here. Linear regression has been around for years, more than a century, if not more. And it has been one of the powerful models. So although one of the basic and simplest models, it could turn out to be one of the most powerful models that you're using. And one of the reasons why we almost always kind of start with learning about linear regression. And some of you are coming here with background in math and stats. So I'm assuming that you may have already, gone through it, learned about it, or at least heard about it, right? And others too who would have, gone through high school math or stats courses, you would have heard about this. So you'll get into a little more details. You'll learn about how to apply it to the data set here in module 4. So it's going to be an interesting module, okay? All right, so just a full view of all the 4 modules, what you'll be learning. You'll learn how to frame a model, explore your data, visualize your data, and then, how do you build a simple data model or a predictive model, which you will learn on module 4, okay? So with that, I'll move on. Before I move on to the next slide here, any questions, folks? Folks who have joined in late, just so you know, this meeting is being recorded. If you have any issues with that, please feel free to drop and you can watch the recording later. Okay. All right. Any questions? Okay. Silence is golden. I'll take that as a no and move on to the next slide here. Okay. Pretty dense slide. So let me zoom into this slide here and want to just go through this course structure week by week. Okay. All right. Yeah, okay. This is better. So your first week, You start with a personal introduction. I'm very happy to see, a lot of you already posted your personal introduction, getting to know your classmates. You want to kind of keep doing that. Um, Many of you already watched my introductory video, so thank you. Um, some of you have already installed Power BI Desktop. You created a login in Power BI service. Okay, that's an important step, as I just mentioned. You're going through this introduction webinar right now at this point. So this is where we are. And so this is the beginning of module 1, which is introduction to data analytics and framing the problem, where you have the required readings, you have some articles and tutorials. You have a Power BI service and desktop check, which is it's due this week and by the end of this week. What is also due at the end of this week is your case study, your discussion on Miami Heat customers. And then you have a quiz on framing the problem due by the end of this week. So whatever the deliverables you have, what is due, I kind of have highlighted in yellow here. Okay, so that's your week 1. Week 2, is once again continuing with your module 1. We will have a module 1 webinar exactly a week from now. Of course, you have a reading, your week 2 reading material as well that you need to be including here. And then most importantly, you have an assignment, your very first assignment due at the end of week 2. Okay, so we'll have a module 1 webinar exactly a week from now. I'll take in any questions you have, anything that you would want to kind of, any questions based on the reading, based on the assignment that you're given. Hopefully by then you would have looked at the assignment that is due and may have also started to work on. So we'll kind of meet a week from now. Okay, that will be your week 2. Week 3, we'll start with module 2, which is data exploration and data preparation. You have required readings and Power BI tutorials. You have the discussion due for handling outliers. You have a quiz on best practices in data preparation, which is going to be your week 3. Okay. Week 4, we'll continue with module 2 on data exploration and data preparation. You have, once again, we will not be meeting in week 3, but we will come back to meet again at the week 4. Okay, it'll be Thursday. And of course, you will get the email for these webinars ahead of time, like the one you got, like what you got for this one. Okay, you will have the required readings and presentations, and then you will end with assignment 2, which is data preparation and exploration. Okay, so that's what is kind of due for week number 4. Okay, your week number 5 is this beginning of your module 3, data visualization, where you have required readings and presentations. You have a discussion due, which is telling a story with data comparison. And then finally, you will end the week 5 with a quiz on beginner's guide to visualization. Okay. Then moving along, week 6, we will continue with module 3. You will have a module 3 webinar, and then you will have an additional Power BI tutorials and examples. You will end this week with assignment number 3, which is on data visualization and storytelling. Okay. And then you move on to week 7 and 8. Week 7, which is the beginning of module 4 on module development, where you would have some required readings and presentations. You will have a discussion due, careers in data analytics. Just going to be an interesting one, okay, folks? So when we get to that, we'll talk about it. But it's a very important one. I hope you all enjoy this discussion, and I look forward to your participation. Not now, of course, I look for participation in all these discussions. But as I said, this one is going to be an interesting one. And then you have you'll end the week week 7 with a quiz on linear regression. And then finally, module 4, we'll have a module 4, wrap-up webinar, and also a webinar on module 4. You will have your additional readings and videos, and then you'll end this week with and also this course with your assignment number 4 on model development. Okay, so what you may have already noticed is every module is going to be 2 weeks long, and every other week you have a quiz and a discussion, and then the following week, which once again, every alternate week, you have an assignment due. So every week, there's going to be something or the other that's going to be due, and that's why I kind of highlighted it, so that there are some deliverables at every week here. So I see there are some questions in the chat. Let me take a look. Okay, the webinar is recorded. Okay, is the webinar session required for this class? No, this is not required. It's not mandatory. However, I would highly encourage you to be here to participate. And especially if you have questions, this would be a perfect time. We can talk live here. So I definitely would encourage, and you also see your classmates come here and ask questions, which could be very useful to you. Okay. So I hope I addressed the questions in the chat. Any other questions? Any questions to what I've covered so far? Okay, not, I will move on to, okay, I see one more comment in the chat. Okay, all right, thank you. All right, thank you. Okay, moving along. As soon as my screen starts working again. Okay, so the grading. So for the, so this course consists of 100 points. Your week 1 Power BI service and desktop check worth 2 points. Your week 1 quiz framing the problem worth 5 points. Your assignment 1 worth 10 points. Your week 3 quiz on best practices in data preparation worth 5 points. Your assignment 2 data exploration and data preparation worth 12 points. Your week 5 quiz on visualization worth 5 points. Your assignment 3 on data visualization and storytelling worth 12 points. Your week 7 quiz on linear regression worth 5 points. And finally, the assignment 4 linear regression worth 12 points. And the biggest one here, your participation in 4 discussion posts, 8 points each, worth 32 points. Folks, this is the key here. These are the brownie points you do not want to lose in any way. Okay, if I were you, I would want to kind of grab these 32 points, because this is like more than half the points that you need for passing this course. So why not, get this, right? And so your participation in the discussions is very important. This is where you get your maximum points. Rest, as you can see, it's all scattered with 5 and 10 points and 2 points. This is where you can score the highest, the more. Okay. Any questions on grading? I see there's a comment or a question there. Do I download the free Power BI or paid version? No, you download the free Power BI. Please, you do not have to buy or purchase any version of Power BI, okay? It is not required for this course. Whatever you would be doing in this course can be done through the free version. We do not need a paid version. Good question. I'm glad you asked. Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, moving on. So what you'll accomplish in this course, you learn to solve data analytics problems. You learn to develop data analytics problem statement. You learn how to import, prepare, and explore data. You learn how to build linear regression model. You learn how to create data visualizations, and you learn to explain data analytics methods and process. Okay. So some of the success factors, right? How could you be successful in this course? The six main factors here. First and foremost, be prepared to spend at least 3 to 6 hours every week. Once again, this is getting you the minimum or the average score. If you're looking to just pass through this course, well, be prepared to spend at least 3 to 6 hours. If you are someone who want to really go above average and do the best in this class, then be prepared to spend some more time. Plan to spend additional 6 to 12 hours for any research, for any preparation, spending time on your reading material, going over through them again if you have not understood, and all that, right? And maybe even read more. What you have in this classroom is good to kind of teach you or accomplish all the goals that we have, but you can do more, right? You can go beyond what is in the classroom. So be prepared to do that, and that will certainly help you while you're working on your, or while you're building your discussions, you're working on your assignments and all that. Okay. Next, start early. Very, very important. I can't tell you enough, um, that this is one of the biggest thing, one of the biggest success factors. If I had to pick one of all the six that I'll be presenting as their success factors, this would be really, actually, this should have been my number one, starting early. How many times we get into the procrastination mode, or the mode of getting to, last hour, when the assignment is due, that you start with the assignment. And sometimes, that's not enough. You could get stuck. There are things that are in play here that may not really be helpful. So all the, maybe in the past, if you would have been successful with doing things at the last minute, well, guess what? It may not work anymore. So please, there are things in play here, like especially from technical aspect, like you have working with the software, you could be working with a virtual lab and all that. So, and maybe there's a research required for doing something, and that may need time, right? So please start early. No plagiarism. You would do a biggest disservice to yourself by trying to copy anything that what your classmates or your previous classmates or your friends, would have done for you. Trust me, if you go through every material in this course, every reading aspect and quiz, it should set you up. It's not rocket science here, guys. I mean, trust me. And the biggest thing is you want to learn, and this is one of the most popular and a very powerful tool that you're going to learn from data analytics perspective. And I'm not making this up. You can go on Google and search for Power BI and see where it stands, and see how it is being one of the market leaders now. And you are learning this tool. So, pay attention and do it yourself, okay, to be successful. Participation, once again, as I said, this is where you get the biggest bang for the buck. I mean, this is where you learn from your classmates. You learn from reading your material. You learn with participation. You gain maximum points for participation. So why not, right? It's very important. And submission on time, right? This is important. Starting early and spending time and participation, all that is good. But if it doesn't result into submission on time, then it's really not going to be helpful to you. So please deliver everything that's required in a timely fashion, okay? In a timely manner. All right. So how to get in touch? You have my email address here. You can get in touch with me. I just mentioned, if you have any issues, you can create a ticket in the Salesforce system. There's a link that I presented in I think the introduction slide. You can use that link, or there's also a link and instructions in the classroom on how to get technical help. And Yelena would be looking out for any tickets. As soon as a ticket is created, she's, made aware of that, and she will reach as soon as possible. However, I just want to make you aware that, at least, although the time frame to respond back to your, issues, to your emails is 24 hours, we still want to do better than that. We do always have been, better than that. But having said that, I don't want to set an expectation that you send an email at 11 o'clock at night on the East Coast and you get an answer back, right away, especially when your assignment is due. So please, that's one of the reasons why I said do not wait until the last minute. If you need help, you may want to ask for it. You want to wait for, the response back. So no trying to send out emails to Yelena, to myself, and trying to get through a problem that you may facing. If you are facing an actual technical issue, you have Yelena, you can get help from. She could help you, probably try to, maybe if it's during the daytime, she will try to address your questions in few hours. If it's by email, if there's any assignment questions, that should come to me, and I will try to address that once again and respond to your questions as soon as I can. Once again, we always have done better than 12 hours, or even, so we did not even need 24 hours. But I'm just letting you know, the university, the guidance is 24 hours, but we certainly will do better than that. Okay. But other than, Yelena, myself, if you have questions related to advising, you have the advisor email address there. And if you have any other questions about this course, the class, about the program, I've given you the, how you could write to the program director. So there's an email ID here for the program director. Okay. So with that, in summary, we covered, our introductions here. You got to know Yelena, especially besides me, and in the YouTube video that that's in the classroom. You got introduced to her as being your TA. We talked about all the 4 modules in the course. We talked about the course week by week. We talked about the grades, what you'll accomplish in this course, the different success factors, and how to get in touch. Okay, so let me pause and see if you have got any questions. So a question from Richard is, data science BS degree, this is the first semester, it is available at UMGC, correct? Yes. Okay. Yep. Thank you for answering that. Okay. Glad you're here, Richard. Okay. Any questions, folks, on any of the slides that we went through? As I said, this is going to be one of our lighter sessions. We don't have much to, but next Thursday, we'll be covering some parts of module 1, especially addressing your questions. The main purpose of these live sessions is going to be addressing your questions and see if there could be something more that I could bring on from what you are going to be learning during that week or even in that module. Okay. So that's going to be the agenda for each of these live sessions. Okay, I see one more there. Okay, Amanda. Very cool. All right. Any questions?
Yeah, Linesh, you might want to mention that when they submit the case, they need to select the correct case type. Otherwise, it goes nowhere.
Excellent. Excellent. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that up, Yelena. So what Yelena was saying, when you go to the Salesforce system, please fill the information in there, right? First of all, you want to start with, the virtual labs, right? That's what you want to kind of pick, and the virtual labs. That's what is going to set up all the different, drop downs there correctly. You should pick the right course, the right program, first of all, which is data. And data is short for data analytics. You want to pick your course number, which is 220. You want to pick the term. Now, in term, we have noticed that there's an error there. Instead of spring
I
spring
reported it.
22,
I
it
reported it.
says winter 22. So do not panic if you do not see spring there. That's okay. You can pick winter 22 for the time being until that problem gets fixed. Okay, but so this is the minimum that you would want to put in your ticket, because only then it would get routed to Yelena. Otherwise, it's going to get routed to other places, and by the time it reaches Yelena, you may have lost a lot of time in between. Even sometimes it takes days, and you'd be wondering why you're not, getting a response back from Yelena or myself, right? And the reason being, the ticket has not reached, Yelena. So very important that you fill out all that information, and other information as well, which is, what's the problem, what has really happened, step by step, what did you do, all that is asked. Describe your problem very well. Remember, Yelena is not looking at or watching over your shoulders what happened or what is happening. So she's going to just learn about it from your description. So if you provide all that information, it will be easier for her to give a response back, and that response is going to be helpful to you. So there would not be any churn or any more emails that would be required. Okay. All right. Anything else, Yelena? Is there anything need to add? You want to add
Mm,
anything that we missed?
I'm trying to think.
Okay.
Well, so yeah, selecting correct case type is important because, well, Salesforce is a huge system. It has tickets related to the financial aid, registration, advising, right? So if incorrect case type is selected, it goes to wrong team, let's say. Oh, and another thing is that if you believe that you submitted the ticket and for some unknown reason you did not receive the response, just provide the ticket number and I can find it by the ticket number, okay? So when you submit the ticket, you're gonna get an email. An email has a case number, right? So that's a confirmation email, and that email is important because it has a case number, right? So if you don't hear back from me, you can provide this case number, and I'll find the ticket. Okay.
Okay, so I'm going to just share my screen here again. Folks, so this is what we're talking about. So this is the
Yeah.
Salesforce system. And as I was saying, the case type, right? You want to pick
At
the
the
last
bottom.
option here, the virtual lab support. Only when you pick this option, you would get these drop downs populated correctly. So you start with student, and then you don't need to fill in anything for the type. You go to the subtype, and this is where you want to pick this option, data analytics. Again, do not pick any other option but data analytics. Then you would come to subtype detail, and you look at all these issues, different types of issues that I'll put in here. Once again, pick the relevant one. Okay, and maybe if you're not don't see any issue that is really and that's been listed here, it's okay to pick other issue. Okay, and then the program is already pre-populated with data, so you can just leave it as is. The course, once again, you pick data 220, you'd put the section number, so like that's a section 6380. The term, as I was saying, let's say if the
It
term,
will be fixed. Lanesh, I reported it. I reported it
yeah,
already.
yeah, I
So,
know, yep, I
yes,
heard that it's going to get
yes.
fixed so soon. But until then, you can pick winter 22, okay, not an issue. And then you can fill the other relevant information, anything that you can put for the machine type or for the OS, if that's relevant, you can fill this in. See, every information at everything that you put it here. Don't shy away from putting your full name, your phone and email, guys. That's important also, because what Yelena does is when she responds back, she responds back into the system sends that email back to you. So if any of this information is missing, once again, it's going to just add more and more time. Okay? Any questions on this? And folks, all this that I just went through, that whole that information, yes, I agree. Screenshot would help. Maybe I will add that in the slides there. and maybe I'll just include this snapshot here. But all that information is also there in your classroom. So go through that and take a look at this portion of the video again. When the recorded and video is being put up there, you can go through this to see how we've kind of chosen. But the main part is the whole driver is just picking this option here, which is towards the end, which is the virtual labs support, right? Unless you have things that you want to talk to financial aid, you want to talk to billing, or you want to talk to maybe faculty for whatever reason. So if you have a special purpose to create a ticket for them and then talk to them, that's fine. Okay, but if you're looking for Yelena's help, it has to come through this last option. Okay. All right. Anything else? Any other questions? Okay, let me go back to my slide here, my deck here. Okay, so if no further questions, folks, we can call it a wrap. And as I said, this the presentation recording, this webinar recording will be available as soon as the meeting ends and I get it from the cloud. I will kind of put it up in the classroom. Okay, but it was nice having you here today. I hope this was helpful. And as I said, keep participating in your classroom, introduce yourself, and work in your discussions, work on your reading material. And I really look forward to working with you guys. Okay, good luck. And thank you all. I'm going to stop the recording now. I'm going to be here for another couple of minutes in case anybody has to ask any questions. Then absolutely, please go ahead and ask.